Hello and welcome to Notes from the Den, coming to you from a secret location in the South Downs. It's very windy here again today in the den, so you might hear a little bit of wind noise whistling through. There was 60-mile-an-hour winds yesterday, so this is the tail end of that storm coming through. So it's been a busy week this week. I've done lots of work on the book. I have been typesetting it, and spoiler alert, it has gone off to print for a print proof, which is exciting. So I use this typesetting software where you upload a Google Doc of the book and then it splits it out based on your headings into chapters. And at first glance you think, oh, that's useful, I can just hit make a book. And then so you make the book and you see the PDF. And then you get the rather problematically named widows and orphans. So a sentence that is on its own at the bottom of the page, which is indented with a tab. Now, I think I've described that well, but basically you won't know what it looks like because typesetting is the removal of that kind of sentence. But it's essentially where you start a new paragraph with a single line at the bottom. The opposite of that, which is an orphan, is where you get the trailing couple of words of a sentence at the top of the next page. So the work in typesetting is shuffling all of the pages around so that you don't get that. Now, a lot of people I see who self-publish don't bother with that, and it does my head in because I like it to look nice. I think I've put a lot of time and effort into the words, so I think an extra few hours shuffling the sentences around is worth it because a lot of people have said that the inside of the book is really well presented and they like it. So yeah, for me, I think it's worth the effort. And the software I use, which is called Readsy, has got a lot better in the year between the last time I used it and this one. It's actually a lot cleverer at nudging stuff down so you don't have to put loads of gaps in. Anyway, so I did all of that work, sent it off to Dave, who gave it a last proof, and then I uploaded it to Amazon. I'm just waiting for that to be approved. I've not done it as a new edition, so it doesn't have a new ISBN number. I've just revised the contents of the book. So it does have a new page count. It's got about 7,000 new words, which is about 7 new chapters, roughly. They're not 1,000 words each chapter. There's a lot of examples I've added in. There's a lot of new prompts. There's some kind of clarification questions. So from working with coaches and consultants over the last year, I've realised that I'll explain a concept and then they often ask a clarifying question. So I've preempted that by putting my answers to some of those clarifying questions in the book to help with people understanding it and the clarity of it. So yes, I'm just waiting on the print proof, which will arrive next week. And as long as that all looks good and I'm happy with everything, then I will then order my copies to be delivered to me so I can start to send it out. Those who are on my mailing list will be getting a special email with a link to buy the book before anybody else, and maybe a special offer. You'll have to be on the mailing list to find out. You can join that mailing list using the link in the description or on my website, simonbatchelor.co.uk. Anyway, that's the shameless plug over. I've also been working on some more podcasts. I've just recorded 4 new podcast read-alouds of various content. These read-alouds are proving quite popular. There's an increasing number of you listening, so thank you if that's you, lending me your ears. I've also decided to embed the podcast versions on the web page version of the blog, which I think is also getting some plays. So that's quite interesting. The hosting software I use, Captivate, makes it really easy to just drop the episodes into the page on my website. And then the last thing I've been doing this week is planning out a lot of content. So I've had a lot of ideas that have come up over the last probably 2 months that I have just added to a long list because I've been focusing on the book. So I've been making my regular blog content, obviously these podcasts, and then all of the other ideas I've got for content and things I've just been adding to a long list so they don't distract me from my book work. But now the book work is done, I am ready to start looking at those ideas. So I've spent a couple of sessions this week looking at all of the ideas I've got and grouping them together into projects. So there's some exciting stuff coming down the road, which I shall tell you about in future episodes as those ideas develop, because sometimes in the development of those ideas I realise that it's actually not quite as good idea as I thought it was. So I won't paint myself into a corner by telling you I'm doing something that I might end up later not doing. But yeah, the main achievement this week is getting the book off to print. That's very exciting. Looking forward to seeing how that feels with a slightly higher page count. I'm also really hoping that it still fits through the large letter thing for Royal Mail. Otherwise, it's going to cost me another 50p per book to send out, which doesn't sound like much, but that stacks up pretty quick. Yeah, that's the downside of adding more to the book, is it might add more to my postage costs. Fear not, dear listeners, I will be absorbing those costs. It's just a bit of an inside thought that popped into my mind. Anyway, it's the Easter weekend here. I'm going to head off for a few days off and hope that the wind eases off so I can go for some walks and get some fresh air, and I will be back next time. So I hope that you're able to enjoy some time off too, and I will be back soon with another episode.